And people love to see that story here against teams like FNOP.
So as we head into the draft, we've already gone past the bans. It's BTK taking away the Cho of Brusco.
This is interesting. Now, it could be from BTK's position, they've lost to the Layla before because they want to pick up Bruno for themselves on that red side. It might just be a honey trap now for whoever shows these power picks first. And it goes the same way for both like Suyo into the Alpha. There's so many ways that this could go wrong.
Gideon, I thought it was Todak, as you mentioned, but no. The last game saw the first time Layla was picked in the M Series history.
Oh, I could be wrong about that. I could be thinking about Layla at that point. I honestly thought it was shown prior to this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was kind of surprised because just in my history, even before I was involved in the casting, I don't remember ever seeing a Layla, but it's great to see. Again, I'm always for those heroes coming through, and you can see this. Here's a hero that is familiar. It's Mobile Friend.
Yep, and of course, so one of the main conditions with the Fredrin is make sure you pack it with something like a Bruno. The Suyo experiment, or, it would be unfair to call it an experiment. The Suyo didn't work out the way it wanted to, but now Fnatic Onyx Philippines get 3 comfort picks. Interesting.
I like power picks.
Yeah, power picks. So this is, of course, King Kong Suyo, which has been fantastic in M6. Super Princess Lo Yi, which was already lauded by his fellow players here in M6. And if this is going into the hands of Kirk, it's an old favorite of his, the R-Lot. Before the Edith, it was his R-Lot that was popping off in the Philippines.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, just look back in the previous Swiss stage rounds, right? BTK have pulled a composition very similar to this, utilizing the drill, utilizing people who have CC, and then you put fried chicken on that R-Lit so that you can get those procs again and again and again, having an overwhelming amount of damage in the early game that you don't really expect.
I feel like the R-Lot pickup would be fantastic, especially up against how we've seen BTK play so far in the M6 World Championship. At some point, they will just gather together as 4, as 5.
But there are a couple of concerns here. I am interested to see whether BTK is going to respect maybe that Layla once more, or when you're looking at FNOP's first 3, is that good enough to be able to peel for her?
Part of this, not only the whole Layla question here now, but it's also the Lo Yi, the signature, the beast of a mage player that is across there, and that's Super Prince. And part of this, whether it's Super Prince or not, just this hero alone leaves enough guessing game for teams that are playing against it. You have to go and play against these diversions, and teams like Fnatic Onyx Philippines, they played a little bit even differently than what you would expect when you have that capability to traverse around the map that way.
Honestly, these bans coming out from Coach Why Not are actually genius. Getting rid of the Vexana is already a really good way to stop the as a means to disengage is great, but also considering the Guinevere thinking that, hey, this Cho easily can be a flex pick for Fried Chicken now that we've stolen away the R-Lit.
I wonder if Fnatic Onyx Philippines are going to show up anything new here, or because they know now they're probably going to be playing into the Aurora of Hoon, maybe even potentially a Valentina, a Terizla.
Throwback?
Yeah. Hell of a throwback pick.
Great initiations from the side of FNOPs. This is a little tough, right? Because now R-Lit is going to go, most likely, I would assume, into that support sector. And now BTK has a number of options because they have to show their composition fully, and that means that FNOP can actually respond accordingly at the end.
Yeah, there's actually a throwback to Fnatic Onyx Philippines Season 13 when their roamer was a player that went by the name of Escalera. It is a R-Lot Lo Yi combo. Expect devastating flanks. Well, of course, Hoon will end up with a Valentina. And, honestly, I like this glue pick, man.
Yeah, the glue pick's great. The Valentina pick as well, because you do have a couple options now that you can actually take here. That could work in favor of BTK, but it can also backfire. Like that's the problem with the ultimates available to them. And that last pick locked in here, of course, that Beatrix to go ahead and deal with this. So still range, obviously an option, but this is a whole lot of comfort, man, and signature for FNOP.
It really is. It's good big combos. I mean, this has been a beautiful draft.
All right, let's go on over to Trex and Husky to call the action.
Thank you very much to the panel. It's Trexky once more. Potentially our final game in this best of 3 between Fnatic Onyx Philippines and Bloodthirsty Kings. We got Kirk getting his hands on that meat tenderizer on the Terizla. signature picks for Super Friends, Loyi, the King Kong with the Suyo, but we also got the MOBA Fred, so signatures on both sides. Let's see if BTK can bring this back as we're about to head into the Land of Dawn.
Yeah, I mean, and then the Arlot steal to stick it into their own position, taking away one of White Chicken's key picks right here. But BTK does get the Cho, they do get the Fredrin, they do have some power in their house right now.
See if this Bruno can have a bigger impact in game number 2. We're gonna head into the Land of Dawn for game number 2 between Fnatic Onyx Philippines and Bloodthirsty King. BTK blue side, Fnatic Onyx Philippines on red. Parallel junglings for both junglers.
Yeah, it's gonna definitely make things interesting because both of them will end up on opposite sides of the map here right now. Last game we saw this battle in the mid between Super Friends, Brusco, Shark, and Hoon. It was back and forth, and it was so important on who could get to those off lanes first. This time it does look like BTK are on the opposing side of the river.
Yeah, and one of the key points of game 1 was also how fast Fnatic Onyx Philippines moves as a team, right? Like the heroes have mobility. Right now, when you want to talk about that speed, the tempo, this draft enables that completely. Suyo, but not just Suyo, the Loyi with the Divergent will always give you that macro edge. You can put off-tempo play. I'm pretty sure BTK is familiar with that, as Hoon also plays that Loyi.
Yeah, I mean, here's the big problem, though, with BTK, right? We know the major issue with the Fredrin right now is the jungle clear. And he's already falling behind now. A little bit of damage on Hoon. Hoon forces to use the flicker a little bit early on. Backs off Shark, now coming in to help out. The snipe does miss from King Kong. But this is going to give Fnatic Onyx possibly a little bit of advantage when they move up to the top side of the map here.
Yeah, and Hoon is not allowed to recall because he needs to soak up that mid wave. So he's going to be late on timing, right 20 seconds before the first turtle spawns. And Fnatic Onyx Philippines is doing a very good job. Brusco forcing Hoon to path to the bot side, and that's how he ended up having to waste that flicker to get away from King Kong. Turtle will spawn it just a little bit. BTK, they need that up level 4 for White Chicken.
And look at the rotations from these EXP laners. Both know the assignment. A lot of damage, though, does land on White Chicken, brought down to about half health. The duality does proc from Super Friends, bringing down Shark as well. A little bit of damage onto Kirk. Kirk backs off. But Turtle is getting started, and BTK's health bars are looking on the low side. Mobazane never wants to give up that neutral objective, though. King Kong as well. It's a battle. White Chicken dashes in. Mobazane able to get the taunt. Super Friends finds White Chicken. A lot of damage, though, onto Brusco, onto Kirk. Kirk comes back with the penalty zone, does not connect. Mobazane looking for a target. Maybe gonna get backed off. Brusco goes down. It's 1-for-1 right now, and Mobazane doesn't want to let it up. Turtle still up, though. Watch the divergent. Kirk falls. Hoon able to make it 2-1. Mobazane is low on health, though. Brings down the Appraisal's Wrath. Super Friends down to about 70%. BTK on the backside. White Chicken finally getting back into this fight. And Turtle, this is his first Turtle.
This is such an extended fight. Brusco just hit 4, and Fnatic Onyx Philippines will concede the objective to BTK. Big taunt from Mobazane, a two-man energy eruption to stall out Fnatic Onyx Philippines, and sure, Fnatic got the first blood, but BTK got more than what Fnatic Onyx wanted them to get.
So now Fnatic Onyx, just like last time, yeah, you guys get the turtle, but we're still winning in map pressure. We're still winning in some of our off lanes, and our gold is still up. And look at the final slash! Hoon decimated. White Chicken on the run with a split, able to just survive on that one. And watch out for the diversion into the bot lane. Zia might just be in trouble. They're looking for the dive. King Kong comes through, throws a punch, throws a hit, but Zia still up, still okay. No duality procs from Super Friends. Brusco takes some damage from Mobazane. BTK shows up to the party to help.
Yeah, good read from Zia, standing in that bush, doesn't see the divergence show up, so he knows that he will be safe and able to sidestep King Kong's Blade Surge with the Immortal Form. And today, this is kind of like game 1, right? Deja vu, both teams really trading blows at the start, but no one really overextending, really coming down to the most minuscule of details. FNOP obviously having a bit of that goal lead, but BTK have been winning in early turtles.
Yeah, winning in turtles, winning in objectives. But like I said, man, FNOP, they're just on this other level where they're able to keep their gold ahead, the farm. And we talked about farming in the very beginning. Mobazane's always going to lag a little bit behind King Kong. King Kong's a level up right now. I mean, when BTK played Fredrin in the previous games, their big spike was at First Lord. That was where they really thrived. But Fnatic Onyx also, last game, the First Lord was their big spike, so both teams know how to play around those big neutral objectives that matter.
And I think BTK are starting to understand that a little bit more. Hun did steal the diversion, right? You want to match that cross-map movement from Fnatic on the Philippines, you now have the tools to do so as well. For BTK, they definitely are not too worried about that spike for now. Just want to buy time for MLBB to get his restores. Every single time FNOP makes the move, MLBB is forced to join. That's why he's been lagging behind.
You know, it's second turtle, and it already feels like we've been in this game for at least 10 minutes. The pressure is on. MLBB is going to get a final slash to the face, knocked back, and a big flicker with the penalty zone. Locks on to MLBB. MLBB too low. Kirk finds the kill. Shark able to get a big kick. Hoon able to find King Kong. Jungle for Jungle. Retri for Retri. White Chicken in the front line. Need to watch out for Kelra. Shark looking for an angle around the side. Looking for any moment. Looking for space, but Kelra's onto him. Brusco's onto him, so Shark has to back off.
Good shit pull from Shark to avoid being stunned up. Both teams have a good idea. Hoon sending himself and Fight Chicken to the backline to take out King Kong to stall out Super Friends. The King Kong ended up getting taken out by Zia because of the kick from Shark. So that means this turtle is going to be stalled out. We only saw 2 turtles in game 1 because it was so dragged out that the Lord decided to just take over his position. We might have that again because both teams are not relenting.
Yeah, I mean, literally, forget the lanes. We're moving all 5 of our teammates down to this pit from both sides. A little bit of damage does land on. Big kick onto Kirk. Kirk brought back to the team. Kirk taking some damage. Watch the diversion. Where did he go? Kelra to the backside. Zia able to take out Kirk. King Kong takes the turtle, though. But now, Brusco's in trouble. A double kill for Zia as Fried Chicken zones away King Kong. MLBB now into the jungle. The duality does proc. Watch for the sniper, but it's not enough to take out White Chicken. Mid-tower drops, and BTK claim back the map.
They might have stolen Fight Chicken's Arlet, but that flicker into that slam. Again, hitting the backline, Super Friends forced to use his diversion to disengage at an instant. So at the drop of the pin, Fnatic on the Philippines knew that they could not continue that fight. That's why they gave out space. And throughout all of that, BTK didn't really amass much of a lead, but at least this time they got that mid-tier 1. So a macro advantage, a minor macro advantage. In fact, for BTK, divergence play also spotted out by Hoon. So that information relayed over to the rest of his teammate. Now Zia gets space up top.
Yeah, which is huge, right? Getting that diversion, knowing that it was coming, saves Shark from falling into that bush, saves the rest of the team, and gives a nice idea of what's going on in Fnatic Onyx PH's minds. Now at this point, Fnatic Onyx still holding an ever so slight gold lead, but we are back to nil. We are back to game 1. We are back to seeing which way this will go. Now BTK's big problem last time was not getting that kill early on onto Kelra, not being able to take him down and letting him get the free farm.
It's not going to be the same in this game because Kelra is not on the Layla, so you're not too worried about range. But you still have to contend with all these AoEs from Fnatic Onyx Philippines, right? Like the Terizla can always flicker on top of you as a Bruno. If you don't have sliding tackle nor flicker, you are still pretty vulnerable. And just like game 1, we only have 2 turtles spawning. For those who like to see the third one, we're not going to get it.
We're never going to get it. Against these 2, I don't think we're ever going to get it. The way that they're treating the first turtle, like it is the first and second turtle, treating it like it is gold, it is prime. This is what's going to decide everything. It is all on the line. It's egos. I mean, there is just so much between these 2 right now, and the fact that this gold is just going ever so slightly back and forth like a pendulum, you can feel the tension.
Yeah, both marksmen went for second item Malefic Gun, so Kelra and Zia both got theirs. Of course, Zia has that Heart's Claw for extra sustain if a fight ever drags out. Because that mid lane tier 1 is down for FNOP, BTK will always have that minor advantage to force that wave in. Now this is the supposed power spike for both MLBB and King Kong is a level ahead.
Ooh, final slash does lock on. Brusco dashes through. Shark gonna look for a target, able to get the kick. Zia finds the kill. Penalty zone does land on to Shark and MLBB, but White Chicken still in the backside. Down comes the Appraisal's Wrath. Nibiru's passion to help fend him off. Zia looking for free shots. Kirk goes down. Kelra able to find White Chicken. Watch for the diversion. Super Friends just trying to get away, and he makes it in the nick of time.
No!
But no! One more hit just to find him at the long range. And BTK should be able to take this first Lord. Fnatic Onyx PH on the back foot for the first time in M6.
What a fight. Brusco had the right idea, started to engage, but the convergence from BTK completely shut him down. And Fried Chicken able to get that ultimate stack enough to re-engage onto that backline. I think he caught FNOP off guard. When
what happened there?
Fried Chicken gets the stack, sticks onto Kirk, takes him down, and this is the World Cup shot of a lifetime. Look at this one.
Oh, the ball. Oh,
All
just
the way
all it takes is one shot sometimes.
from NA to Philippines, some might call it. 4-0 on Z, and Malefic Gun really paying off dividends, right? Berserker Fury now online for him. He's feeling really good about himself.
All right, BTK now with a Lord pushing in on to Fnatic Onyx. Now still, it's a 2K gold lead. We've seen plenty of teams turn things around before. King Kong does get in the Malefic Roar. Ready to deal more damage. BTK has to be careful about how they approach this.
This is the second stage for FNOP. Every time they're on the back foot, King Kong will start playing macro game with the Suyo. Sure, we don't have the Lord, but my team can defend against the Lord, and I'm taking structures. Look at Mobaze. He's being forced to respect King Kong, so now BTK don't have Mobaze with them. Fnatic on the Philippines don't really end up losing too much. Both tier 2s mid and bot have gone down, but that top lane is still fairly healthy.
Yeah, luckily BTK does have a lot of their towers still standing. They can let some of those side pushes happen if they're able to get something for it at least, right? They have to be able to get something out of that trade, but anything crazy going on in these items?
So far, no, not really. It's pretty straightforward. This is what I expected from Fredrin. In this case, right, Concussive Blast, Thunder Belt, Brute Force Breastplate. First item, Blade Armor for Fight Chicken, so good luck trying to hit him if you are Kelra. But for everything else, it's pretty much in place. Though, Kirk did went for second item, Winter Crown. He understands that right now he's going to get blasted very quickly, so he needs a good penalty zone and buy time with the invulnerability.
Yeah, Kirk and Brusco both been having a little bit of trouble engaging, trying to make these fights. The moment they go in, the damage starts unloading from Zia. Zia just locked in Windtalker. They take down the last of the mid towers. BTK with the advantage.
Feels like it's in an upset. Well, at least in this game, it could be a historical moment waiting to happen. But I'm not putting my hopes up just yet.
You can never put your hopes up against the Philippines. At any moment, chaos can happen.
Gotten my heart broken more than enough times in this Swiss stage. But this is a good look for BTK. Really stepping up again. These dancers in their objective. BTK clearly understood what they needed to do. And we say that Filipino teams like to play this macro, they like to play slow and steady. BTK are matching that pace. They are willing to dance.
And look at them freezing the lanes right now. So at this point, Fnatic Onyx, what do, right? Do we look for that big play? Do we maybe even surrender this next Lord, or don't at least force it? If we can get a nice position, we go for the fight. But if we don't, they have all their inhibitors left. They can probably, plus they have Kelra still doing very good, fed up. They could probably survive another Lord push, even if they don't get this one.
The only advantage they have is that Mobile Zane is still level 14 compared to King Kong, who is maxed out. And Divergence will be spotted out, but it's just as a scout intel gatherer. BTK, they do have possession over Lord. Fight Chicken is a big brick wall right now.
Yeah, but Mobazane's still not level 4, but look at the kick! Onto King Kong, a lot of damage is forced to flicker back. Kirk able to find Shark though. Kirk low, the Embrace Bat Thumbs come back. Zia finds Kelra, Brusco falls as well, and BTK is looking for their next target. King Kong left alone, Super Prince as well, 2 left on the family. BTK looking to take this Lord. BTK looking to find some inhibitors.
Look at contingency plans for FNOP. Super Prince walks straight down to bottom to clear out that wave. It's all about stalling out the minion wave. Even has a Divergence to go straight over to the second tier tower in front of the second tier turret. Maybe might be able to catch.
Yeah, that was a dangerous.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just to make sure that they can stagger the minion wave. King Kong also will have to fall back as well. Good identification. They saw that there's no Divergence, so no macro play is going to come up from FNOP before the Lord fight. The stolen penalty zone was a big difference.
God, look at the damage on the Lord though. Shark looking for a kick, is going to get knocked up, is going to get slashed back, is going to get taken out. Shark goes for a suicide under the base, maybe a little bit too cocky there. Windtalker does come in for Zia. BTK still playing the range, but another Lord thrown down the drain.
Another masterclass from Fnatic Onyx Philippines in how to defend, stagger the waves, take out the Lord with the damage, and with these staggered waves, BTK would just have to accept the fact that the worth that they got out of the second Lord is not as much as the first one. So it neutralizes the state of the game for FNOP, but also the premonition of Kirk landing a penalty zone before the third Jit Kundo hit, so Shark couldn't follow up with his kick.
Look at Zia's gold right now, a full 1,000 ahead of Kelra. Finally maxed out on items. He has the ability to start juggling. Mobazane, blade armor locked in. Fried Chicken, blade armor locked in. Some answers to what Kelra might try to bring. Winter Crowns as well on Kirk. You mentioned that earlier because it is something he's going to need to make that big penalty zone happen.
Yeah. And I like Hun switching it up, now stealing the final slash instead of the penalty zone. They tried to go for a full dive. It worked in their favor. They got the objective earlier on, but you can't keep doing it as the game goes late, right? You are going to end up sacrificing yourself. So now it's all about isolation. Can we get a pick onto Kirk? Can we get a pick onto Brusco, who is constantly looking for a final slash that could equalize the state of the game?
All right, so BTK, once again, just playing the slow game, right?
Yeah.
Freezing lanes, not forcing it. But at this point, do we want to see them force it more, right? The last Lord, that's 2 Lords now, down the drain. And in another, another 4 or 5 minutes, Gold's going to get to that peak, and Fnatic Onyx won't be at a deficit anymore, right? It won't matter anymore. And they'll be able to really force and take these fights along with BTK. The big advantage that BTK has had in this last Lord is having the Gold advantage, having a few extra items.
I think it comes down to Shock, right? Yeah, this conceal play is what I'm waiting for.
Shark looking for the kick, does get found out. Gonna be able to land on a Kirk, bring him back to the base. Zia. Oh, wait, big final slash. Out comes the Winter Crown. Zia in a little bit of trouble. Brusco. Wait, they're focusing on to Zia. Mobazane finds Brusco, and Zia sidesteps, backs up, and still gets the kill. 2 for nothing. BTK.
That is perfect. We need a Shock to make a concealed play. He's the only one who has the capability, and BTK followed up with it. Again, you can take this Lord, but you gotta contend with macro, which Fnatic on the Philippines, they're already setting up for it. They understood that there's no Lord in sight, so King Kong is gonna deal with the top wave. Lord number 3 for the Bloodthirsty Kings, and this one has to start cracking inhibitors.
Yeah, this one has to maybe even finish it at this point, because it's going to be, what, another 2 or so minutes, longer than that for the next Lord. By the time the next Lord comes up, Fnatic Onyx Philippines will be at a point where we're ready for the 5v5. We're ready to throw hands with you. We're ready to throw fisticuffs.
Okay, just talk about how fast Zia switched from Winds of Nature to Rose Gold Meter.
Well, getting a penalty zone to the face.
Yeah.
Well, getting a final slash to the face.
Exactly, and now he bought the Winds of Nature back once more. We'll have it ready for the next fight. King Kong will try to cut the top wave, but thankfully BTK are also on the case. So King Kong not able to fully clear it out. They're looking for him. Conceal play.
Is this the right play? They do get the kill! Zia found you creeping. Now BTK 5v4, but right now there's only 3 of them at the enemy's base. A big final slash, Hoon brought in, Fly Chicken in trouble as well. They gotta be careful. Kelra gets the kill, stops him, puts out the stiff arm and knocks him down.
At least that's one inhibitor. I say for Fnatic Onyx Philippines, King Kong sacrifice was sort of worth it, right? No Zia to siege with BTK means that they can only deal minimal structural damage, and that was with the help of the 3rd Lord of the game. So FNOP again, back to a neutral state. But BTK have a solid control over the state of the macro right now, thanks to that fallen inhibitor.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to help a lot for sure. At this point, Shark's been setting up well in terms of, in just the general sense of the map. Where BTK are folding is when they get into this bottleneck, right? When they try to get into that base and have to go through those lanes. You got Kelra sitting there with a sniper. You got Kelra sitting there with a grenade launcher. You got Kelra sitting there just ready to stop you. And you proc that as well with the duality, the passive from Super Friends. It is a hard wall to crack through.
And with how BTK has been playing, we're not seeing as much off-tempo play from this Loi because FNOP, they don't really have the control that they were looking for. And BTK made adjustments. They understood that every single time we get an objective, this King Kong Suyo shows up in the side lanes to stagger our waves. We might as well take him out. At least we get an inhibitor off of that. But this is where it gets into murky territories, right? Both teams hitting that critical mass. Lord up in 40 seconds. It's all about item swaps for BTK. Fnatic on the Philippines also peeking out in their core items.
At this point, does this game just end with a full team wipe, right? With at least a 3-man wipe. Is that the only option at this point? Not just taking 1, not just taking 2, but a minimum of 3 to where you can just force your way in.
It could be the only way, honestly. I think if you're BTK, if you're Shark, you are always looking for that moment. Same as Brusco, but we've seen how BTK respond to being dove by a final slash into a penalty zone. They have had protocols set up to deal with that. And Shark, he is just taking up so much space. And Fnatic on the Philippines are respecting this show.
Yeah, they're definitely respecting it. Nobody's forcing it. The diversion too, man. He hasn't been able to get a single good diversion off Super Friends because every time he goes to a bush, BTK's ready. They're like, yeah, we knew you were going to go here. Yeah, we're ready for this.
Yeah.
But Fnatic Onyx looking for an angle around the backside. Fried Chicken knows it's there. Final slash on to Fried Chicken. Fried Chicken's
Oh, no.
a tanky boy, though. He's a thick boy. Kirk doesn't seem like it. Brought down to about half health. A lot of damage. Free shots coming from Zia. That's Fried Chicken. Zones him away and takes Brusco for a ride. Back to the homies. Zia finds another kill.
When was the last time you see North America kind of putting up such a fight? We've seen glimpses of that in previous championships, but you're up against a super family that everyone touted as perfection, the embodiment of perfection, but BTK takes the 4th lore of the game, and so far in terms of objective, I gotta say, Trex, all 4 lores have gone to the N-Ace powerhouse.
Yeah, and look, I mean, once again, Suyo at the top side, pushing that ball. I think BTK is doing this right. It's like, listen, fine, do that. We got a Lord coming down mid. You're going to have to come back to base. You got 15 seconds on the clock for Brusco and 10 for Kirk.
Without Brusco and Kirk, there's no way Fnatic on the Philippines can get any engaged off, but BTK, is this the end angle? They're going to attempt for it.
Oh, Hoon with the penalty zone. They just got to lock the base. Can they do it? Shark able to get it. Zia goes down. A few more hits. BTK tie up the game.